Hey everyone, it's Erin with Hail Varsity. I'm joined by Greg, also of Hail Varsity, and we are here to recap another week of Nebraska football practice. Full transparency, because normally we like to be inside the stadium if we are able. However, because of the game, ABC, ESPN, that whole crew is here right now getting set up, so we cannot be inside the stadium, so we are outside of the stadium, which means we are privy to all kinds of external noises. There are trains, there are cars, student athletes are walking by.
Vendor trucks, there's everything happening
It's really the unknown right now what we're going to get. A bus?
Okay, that works.
If you have a bingo card at home, you can just start checking some things up.
That needs to be a thing.
Yeah, it's a bingo card. We could create a game here. But anyway, we are here to recap the week. We just heard from Coach Scott Frost. He spoke for about 5 minutes following Nebraska's Thursday practice. So, Greg, first and foremost, what was your general takeaway from Frost today?
Yeah, I thought he was upbeat today. I really do. I thought that his big key and takeaway has been something that has been talked about a lot this week, and that's the run game. I think that both Nebraska being able to establish a run game and on the flip side of that, being able to stop the run game is going to be something that's important for this game. He talked about that quite a bit today, as well as consistency, being able to replicate what Nebraska did last week against Northwestern, albeit against much tougher competition.
Yeah, and he kept saying, he's like, it's going to be the key for everyone in this game is that run game, because he said, for as much as Nebraska wants to run the ball and stop the run, Michigan's going to want to run the ball and stop the run, so it's really going to be a game of who can effectively run the football. Beyond that, he was asked about the offensive linemen. We obviously know that Teddy Prohaska and Nori Nueli came in last week in place, and they shifted Turner Corcoran over. Right. So we had some new faces on the offensive line, and they fared well against Northwestern. However, Michigan has a very tough offensive line. In fact, as many of you have pointed out, that offensive line is probably one of the best Nebraska will have faced this season. When you look at like a Michigan State, Michigan's offensive line is better. However, the defense has had a strong season so far, so he feels good about what Nebraska will be able to do, but they obviously are going to have to play one of their best games.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michigan as a team, because I think then you talk about the theme of the run, they're not going to abandon the run. If you get through the first quarter and Nebraska is holding up well against the run, they're not allowing very much, Michigan's not going to give up on it. They're going to continue doing that because it is their bread and butter, and that's how they win football games. They don't necessarily want to put it in the hands of their quarterback. They have two talented running backs as well. So it's a big test for Nebraska's rush defense this week.
Absolutely. Michigan is one of those teams where if it doesn't work right away, they're going to keep trying until they kind of wear that defense down, like Greg said. Now, a quick note on injuries. We obviously had confirmation from Matt Lubick earlier in the week that Thomas Fidone is back to practice. Frost did say the same. He's a little bit rusty. Yep. That is to be expected, but he's obviously happy to have him back. I will say on Tuesday we were kind of talking about you won't see much of him this season. Definitely not more than 4 games, right. Which to answer 2 things. First, one of you did ask in the last video, does that include a bowl game? If Nebraska were able to make a bowl game, is that factored into the 4-game count? And the answer is yes. They have to factor that in. So if Nebraska is feeling comfortable at some point as the season is progressing that you might see them in a bowl game, well, they're going to factor that in as to who they play and when. Also, we did not talk about this in our video from Tuesday, but it was brought up in the mailbag. When might you be able to circle when you could see Thomas Fidone? You had an answer.
Yeah, I think for the Purdue game, after the first bye week, I think makes a lot of sense. So you give him a couple of weeks to kind of knock that rust off in practice, get back into game shape. You give him the additional week to then be able to really hone in on maybe a handful of plays and a package that he can go in and execute, and then you see him against Purdue. I think that makes a lot of sense for kind of how things are tracking.
So, a lot to look forward to. As for this game with Michigan, it's really going to be about what kind of Nebraska do we see. Nebraska played a pretty clean game against Northwestern. There weren't a lot of errors. They did not beat themselves, which was the key here. So can Nebraska take that into Michigan week? No special teams errors. Does the offense does the offense establish the run? Can the offensive line hold up against
avoid the penalties?
Avoid the penalties. Yeah. These are things where Nebraska has beaten itself far too often, not only this season but in seasons prior. In this Michigan game, I know a number of you have said, how many tests are there? Honestly, every week is a test at this point. Every week is a test at this point. I'm not even kidding. This is a Nebraska team that could hypothetically beat Michigan this week and then lose to Minnesota. I'm not putting that energy into the world.
Right.
I am just saying that this is...
That's why next week would be a test, too. Like,
Every
we
week
will
it's a
say that
test.
again. I'm just spoiler alert. I'll say it next week.
Spoiler alert. Oh, the beer truck just rolled off.
Yeah, it is.
So if you're going to be here at Memorial Stadium on Saturday, they just, for all of the like tailgates and things, a beer truck just drove off. So, well, as always, we appreciate your comments, your questions. Some of you did leave them in the comment section, like the 4-game redshirt rule. So anytime you have those, feel free to leave them in the comment section. We love to be able to help out if we can. Greg, any final thoughts?
No, it feels like a big game around here. It's an exciting time. I think, as Scott Frost said, the atmosphere will be kind of electric in Memorial Stadium, just as good, if not better, than the Northwestern game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
If you had it on your bingo card, somebody just like revving their engine toward the, there you go, check that one off.
We almost made that one.
We almost made it. Well, we always appreciate you watching. We will be back next week with more from practice. We have plenty at hailvarsity.com for you, both heading into this weekend's game, but also game day coverage. You can check out the Huskers arriving at Memorial Stadium. It sounds like Scott Frost wants to do the same Unity walk going all the way across campus. So I will bring my running shoes.
Yeah, good idea.
I will be prepared this week. But you can always check all of that out here on this YouTube channel, but you can go ahead and bookmark Hail Varsity. Go follow us on all social networks. We will keep you in the loop as we get closer to game day and on game day.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later.